3:30, and I'll call this meeting to order. Could I get a confirmation of the agenda, please? Barbara and Brian, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Jason, you in favor?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Declaration of pecuniary interest, if you have so you can declare it now, if not, anytime through the meeting. Bylaws and motions. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2019-034, being a bylaw to appoint an acting fire chief to the Dundalk Fire Department and chief fire official for the Township of Southgate, be read a first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and entered into the bylaw book. Do I have a mover for that? Jim, seconder, Barb? Okay. Dave?
Okay, so we, with the resignation of the present chief, we have went to fire department captains and had discussions with them, and we have made a decision as a group that we would put forward Mitchell DeCruz's name as the acting fire chief for the Township of Southgate. And what we have done is, through the recruitment process that we are hiring him as a casual employee for 6 months in this position, and that the committee will work with that process of its duties in supervising, or supporting, I should say, and advising the fire chief and supporting him. That we will, see where this goes, and I know Mitchell's a very keen firefighter and captain over the years, and is quite willing to take this job on and help out in the community. And they're actually at a scene right now leading the fire department at an accident. So the name Mitchell DeCruz will be the person we're looking to appoint as acting fire chief.
Thank you. Yes, he was going to be here, and there were others that were coming in support as well, and they made the response time very quick because they were just not too far from the hall when they got the call. So there's been a lot, as you know, lots of meetings over the last while with different things going on, lots of discussions. This appears to be a solution while we get everything back on track. It is a very resilient department with a lot of dedicated individuals, both in and around the department, and I think this is a good step that we're looking at taking with consultation with the fire marshal's office. So that's kind of where we are now. Any questions or comments from council? Oh, effective date. See what's on here. Oh, today. Yeah. Sorry. So the actual bylaw, it's one up on the screen. I think this is just important enough that I should. Corporation Township of Southgate bylaw number 2019-034, being a bylaw to appoint an acting fire chief for the Dundalk Fire Department and chief fire official for the Township of Southgate. And then it goes into the whereases as far as council of the Township of Southgate is empowered by the Municipal Act, SO 2001, Chapter 25, Section 8, and the Fire Protection and Prevention Act 1997, SO 1997, Chapter 4, Section 6, to appoint a fire chief. And whereas the Council of the Corporation of Township of Southgate deems it expedient to appoint an acting fire chief to enforce the provisions of the said acts. Now therefore be it resolved that the Corporation of the Township of Southgate hereby enacts the following, that Council of the Corporation of the Township of Southgate does hereby appoint Mitchell DeCruz as acting fire chief for the Dundalk Fire Department and chief fire official in the Township of Southgate to enforce the provisions of any applicable acts and legislation and any other bylaws within the municipality, and that the acting fire chief shall have all the powers and duties as defined by bylaw 67-2007 in respect to the fire chief duties, and that all previous appointment bylaws be repealed, and that bylaw shall come into effect on February 15th, 2019. That's the entire bylaw. Jason, is that okay?
Yep, all sounds good.
Okay. Any questions or comments from anyone? Barb, you're what you're thinking, so there you go.
Through the chair, I'm not even sure what I can ask. How many years has he been on our detachment? He's presently captain, I believe you
Yeah,
mentioned?
he's presently a full-fledged captain. He has 2 years of college training, and I believe it's 6 years on the service with Dundalk. And he's a very knowledgeable person that we've had a bit of interaction with over the last week. And we're quite impressed that he's taken it on. And we're quite impressed with his skills. And, you know, this is an interim process while we look at some options long-term. But he's definitely going to be a part of this fire service in a management role, no matter whether it's acting captain or acting chief in 6 months or some other role. But it may be he may really love it and want to continue to do it. But he has long-term aspirations as well, and I'll keep those. I think that's private. He shared those with us. But I think we've got past fire chiefs have developed some really good people, and we've got some really good people in this department we should be proud of. But and Mitchell's definitely one of those.
Go ahead.
And you mentioned that there were other people going to be here in support of this appointment. I'm not asking for names, but I'm going to assume that's other firefighters from
Members of the fire.
members of our fire crew that
Yes.
are supportive of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Jim?
It's nice to know that we have someone qualified to take on this position. It would be nice too if he gets it permanently, and I would hope that he has the insight to appoint a deputy. I've been complaining for a number of years now that we should have a deputy. It's on the books that we have one, and unfortunately the previous fire chief didn't bother filling that position.
And I'll maybe respond to that if I may. I wouldn't put that on the previous fire chief. We just left a meeting, the committee left a meeting with the fire marshal's office staff, Joe Casey, very knowledgeable individual, and that will be something we'll be acting on and working with the fire chief to put somebody in place in that position. That's not a critical issue today, but it's going to become a critical issue. We have to address it, and it'll be addressed in one of the next two meetings. Let's say one of the next two meetings. I'm thinking the second meeting we'll likely be appointing someone to that role. And,
Yeah.
sorry if I may. And there's other roles, like our number one, I guess, goal with this whole thing is to make sure there's capacity for response to calls, accidents, emergencies, fires, whatever. We're likely going to be looking at capacity from other organizations, because we've reached out to all four, Wellington North, West Grey, Grey Highlands, and Shelburne, and they've all been very supportive and looking at public education and fire prevention support. That may be an area where we will need help, but the committee's going to work at building capacity there internally. But I think there's opportunities for us to share those kind of things, because there's a wealth of experience around us that we can help get help for.
And I think it's very much worth pointing out that the department does have a lot of depth, a lot of history, and there's been a long line of fire chiefs that have left their mark on the department in very many positive ways. And I think this, for the transition period at least, and then see where we go from there, I think this young fellow will can stand up to and count down the road as being one of those. The respect seems to be there, and what he lacked in long time of experience, he's pretty keen, and he's a lot of education. So with the proper support, which I believe he has, there's no reason to believe fail at this in any way, I think it's a positive step. Any other questions or comments? Barbara?
One last one then, with regard to this appointment, will there be a press release, addressing, what's going on? To make sure that, people wanna know.
Yep.
And so, you'd like to be a bit ahead of us. We've made some decisions, and that's some communication decisions that have yet to be made. For sure, this is a meeting agenda that'll get posted, and we'll be working with the clerk's office maybe to put out a notice. Might not be a press release, but at least a notice this before we go leave for this weekend, that can be put on our website to at least say, this is what we accomplished in this meeting. Let's call it council highlights. And a press release the first of the week. But there's some issues that we still can't talk about. We hope to do a staff report next week for council to explain more of what has gone on for the public. But there is still some exit negotiations that have to be sorted out before we can say everything we'd like to.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any questions? Jason, do you have any questions?
No, sounds good so far.
Okay. I think there's two things too that go hand in hand with that, Barb. We have been discussing very recently about a strategy for whether it would be a press release or whether we do council highlights on a regular basis anyways for any of the stuff that happens here. So it's not just the minutes. There are some that go out and that, but we were looking at how to announce things like this. The other thing is, one of the first things that we would be doing with the fire chief is arranging for either the fire committee or some of council, whatever, to be at, as soon as the chief requires us to come in and talk to everybody or listen to everybody and go from there. So that it's very clear that the chief is in charge of their department, and it's not interference that the committee or council wants to have. It's support that we want to do for it. So, yeah. Okay, so if there's no more comments or questions, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor? Jason?
Yes.
Okay. Any opposed? I can count that. So good. So that motion is carried. Members' privilege under good news and celebrations. Oh, yeah. There's some Sunday. There's an event. I'd forgotten about it already. Council, anyone that can be there, I'll be there at the arena on Sunday from 1 to 3. There's a free skate and coffees and cookies and things. Thanks for those that organize this and are picking up the stuff. And it's just a meet and greet and a chance for people to get to say hi to council and ask questions, talk, or whatever they'd like to do. So that's on Sunday afternoon at the Dundalk Arena. And for next year, I would like to do this again, and probably try and work with the Optimists to do it next year in the west end of the township. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add?
Just wishing everyone safe journey home and happy Family Day.
Thank you. Okay, so this time I'd like to, just before we do move on to the confirming bylaw, just publicly thank the chief that's just resigned for the good work that he had done, and welcome Mitch to the. I was wishing he would be here, but welcoming Mitch to his new assignment. Be it resolved, bylaw 2019-035, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Southgate at its special meeting held on February 15th, 2019. Be read a first, second, and third time, finally passed and signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and entered into the bylaw. Do I have a mover for that? Barbara and Jim? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you. Carrie? Now we have the motion that most people like to move. Brian, would you like to move for adjournment?
I'll
I'll move, we adjourn.
Good, we are adjourned then. Thank you.
You all right with that, Jason?